Welcome to another edition of our weekly program, Guest of the Week, the program that features personalities and other stakeholders in the society. Our guest for today is with me here. Sir, you are welcome to this program.
Thank you very much, Madam Tahiru.
Can you kindly introduce yourself to our teaming viewers?
Okay, on the introduction, you have partly done it, having mentioned my name, Mikael Barau, because the first thing to know about any person is the name as a reference.
Yeah.
I am an indigenous of Tlata Mafara in Zamfara State, and I work with Usman Danfodio University, Sokoto, with the Department of Modern European Languages and Linguistics. In addition to that, I am also a visiting senior lecturer at the Federal University here in Gusau. I also provide a lot of consultancy services to international development partners, particularly on reading instruction in English and Hausa. I'm currently the technical advisor on reading and numeracy activity that is funded by Foreign Commonwealth Development Office, FCDO, formerly Department for International Development, DFID, and UNICEF, implemented by FHI 360 in Abuja. And this is a program that is in 9 states and is working to improve reading outcomes in Nigeria. This is much I can say in that regard.
Yeah, that's wonderful, sir. What can you say? You are vast in linguistics. How can you rate the official language attitude of our Fufulans?
Yeah, I like this question because for nations to develop, they need to get it right with their position on their languages, particularly African countries where you find hundreds of languages in one border. The number of languages in Nigeria, depending on whether you count some that are considered dialect or not, is well above 500. So the decision on how to utilize your languages is as important as the decision on how to utilize your human resources and natural resources. Language is key to human development. It is the instrument of delivering education content. It is the language of general communication. It is the instrument of political engagement. It is critical to national cohesion. So nations like ours need to decide on what to do with their languages, what we call linguistic engineering. And one of the key issues is, what service do you want your languages to serve in your education system? Over the years, we have been complaining about children not being able to read and write after attending schools for 4 to 5 years. While there are other factors contributing to that, but one of the major contributing factors is missing the point on what language to be used. The Nigeria's national policy on education says that we should teach children in their mother tongue or language of the immediate environment. But that is not the situation. We go straight to English. We end up not getting the English right, nor getting the mother tongue right, nor getting the education right. So our issues of policies, they may be right, but the issues of implementation are really faulty, and we need to do something about that for the nation to develop. Take another example. In the National Assembly of Nigeria, there is this provision that the business of the National Assembly can be conducted in English or any of the 3 major Nigerian languages if necessary provision has been made thereof.
Some people are of the view that mother tongue language should be used in teaching and learning. How do you subscribe to this?
Yes, because for me, I led that process and I've seen huge disparity in positive result. RANA, the reading and numeracy activity that I mentioned in the opening, is one program that is meant to bring to the fore the aspect of teaching and learning in the mother tongue. And we used Hausa in Zamfara as a pilot and Katsina in 200 schools, and the outcome was tremendous. Like, for example, within the 3 years of our implementation, the basic reading skills of children improved from 29.1% to 55.2%. We have never seen that kind of result in recent times, and ever since partners and governments have been inspired by that, and the program that is called BESDA now, Better Education Service Delivery for All, is about $611 million, is saying that for their result area 1, which aims at improving reading outcomes, you have to use the mother tongue or language of the immediate environment, except of course in environments like the south part of Nigeria, where there are a lot of minority languages and it's very difficult to reach a compromise. So this is really the way to go. This is how very many nations got it right, and having been able to establish themselves with high percentage of literacy, they are developing rapidly in all other aspects of development.
As a technical advisor to RANA program, how can you rate the impact so far, and what are the areas that needs improvement?
Okay, as I said, this is one program that has demonstrated that children can learn when the right programming is done. And by the right programming I mean providing relevant materials for the learners and the teachers, training the teachers in a participatory way, doing robust monitoring and evaluation to ensure that the system of instruction that is put in place is being used. It's not what we call failure by design, and that baseline assessments are done and are compared with midlines and endlines, and programs are adjusted to respond to the needs and context, bringing communities to support reading through what you call community reading hubs, through the reading festivals. So that is how we have seen the kind of result I mentioned. More about the result: we got 47% of letter sound recognition among learners. What it means is that 47% of the learners could recognize letters when they see them.
Now, this reading and numeracy activity known as RANA, how successful has it been, and what are the participating states?
Well, in terms of the success, we started with Zamfara and Katsina as pilots. Only 200 schools. Out of these 200 schools, 60% formal schools and 40% non-formal schools, the integrated Quranic schools. That is one aspect that is really critical, that these Quranic schools are willing to accept integration. This way they learn the Quran and also learn the literacy, functional one that will help their livelihood. So from these 2 states and 200 schools, within 5 years, the project now expanded to 7 other states, and those 7 other states include Sokoto, Bauchi, Niger, Kebbi, Kano, Kaduna, and Jigawa, and now in more than 23,000 schools. This expansion is unprecedented. Many states have adopted Rana as their approach to reading instruction. Let me give you an example. Kaduna State, upon the introduction of Rana as a program, they looked at the system, the script, and everything. They made it as the language of instruction for learning to read in their more than 4,000 schools. Just recently, we realized that certain sentiments wanted to play out. Because some people feel that, oh, why should children be learning in the mother tongue when English is the national language? And this is an argument that at its own face value, somebody can easily buy. And some stakeholders who didn't understand that started having divided opinions. But I remember reading the book of Malam Nasir Rufai, the governor of Kaduna State, and he stated clearly in that book that his brother Bashir Rufai taught him to read in Hausa, and he later migrated to learn how to read in English. And this is key, and this is what we are missing. So this is really what has helped in the success of the project. As I said, from 200 schools to another 23,000 schools across 9 states from the 2 pilot states.
Right. It's a time for us to go for a short break. Let's go and come back again.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, you stay tuned.
Yeah.
Welcome back to our program, Guest of the Week. Our guest for today is Dr. Mikael Barrow. Doctor, you are welcome back once again.
Thank you, Maldairo.
Yeah. Let's go into our program. You led several advocacies on early grade reading with higher level government partner. What are the results?
Well, the results are really great, I must say. Government partners need a lot of technical assistance, and it's about how genuinely one engages them, and by that I mean the clarity of the technical content you are delivering, and of course when they begin to implement the kind of results they have seen. So in every advocacy, evidence is key. You need to work with evidence, and so you have to get your facts right regarding research, like on what we do in terms of the improvement of reading instruction. Is a common experience when you walk to an average public school, that you ask a child to read something, that child will be struggling. But beyond this observation, a survey was conducted in 2015 that shows how truly devastating this state of learning is. Foundation skills in reading were not there. So I believe it's a communication thing, and that's where the media and part of what we are doing here is really critical. It's about clarity of your message, how it is backed up by evidence on the situation analysis, and how the way forward you are providing is also evidence-based.
What are the major texts in English synthetic phonics reading programs? Can you give the details in this regard to our viewers?
Okay, I think you must be referring to the aspect of one English synthetic program that I participated in some 5 years ago, and for which I went to the United Kingdom as a professional fellow. And that program is called the Jolly Phonics program. I happen to be part of the 3-person technical team for Zamfara to run the pilot of the program. And after the pilot and the positive outcomes of that, the program was scaled up in the state, and Zamfara continues to be a shining example of how effectively that program could be run. But one thing, for switching from an English synthetic program in the early grades to Hausa is the results in terms of the critical mass of it. What my studies in languages and linguistics tells me is that when you teach a child with a mother tongue, you are taking away a lot of learning burdens from that child, and that is likely to give you more results. When you compare a child in the city whose parents are educated and can understand the English language, fine and good to use those kinds of methods for English, synthetic, analytic, phonics, and so on. But when we look at our villages where the mothers, the parents generally, the relations in the market, in the mosque, it is Hausa or any of our major languages, you find that children may be struggling with that. But I will overall say that these are areas now that require the attention of our governments to be able to reconcile this kind of trade-off in educational system. It's good to have good sequencing in the kind of interventions that happen in school between those that are English and that are mother tongue based.
You serve at the consultancy unit of Usman Danfodio University, Sokoto, as an independent consultant on literacy programs. What impact will you say this has?
Okay, so universities have recently developed consultancy units so that they can serve as means for generating some resources. In my role in that capacity, we helped in developing training modules, reading materials for the kind of consultancy services that the university receives from the State Universal Basic Education Boards, especially in the neighboring states in Sokoto, Kebbi, and Zamfara. And in addition to that, I was the coordinator of mass communication program for my department, which is hosted by the consultancy unit, and that has really served in providing training opportunities to media practitioners around Sokoto, Kebbi, and Zamfara. I must say that as I move around, I find a lot of people that I related with in that capacity.
Doctor, how, in your views, would you like to see the Nigerian education system, particularly in the northern part, and what will you offer as the best way forward?
Well, for education, we look at it in terms of one, access. That how much people get access to education. If we still have millions of children that are out of school, so we are still behind in that critical index. We need all children to go to school. It's a right, it's non-negotiable. So I want to see an education system that provides access, especially at basic level. It's a right. So talking about that, there is one child that doesn't go to school is a misnomer that we all have to work to eradicate around here, and we have a lot of that.
You are a critical partner in the FHI 360. May we know what is it all about and what are its benefits?
Okay, so FHI 360 is an international organization based in the US, and it's the one implementing RANA. And as the technical advisor, I have the overall leadership role for the implementation of the project. We talk about partnership for development, and this is exactly what happens, because this is one organization with presence in all the US states, and it's also present in over 70 countries globally. So all that kind of global experience of the organization were brought to bear in the implementation of the RANA project, and that is why we recorded tremendous successes in all aspects of the project intervention. And beyond RANA, we have been submitting a number of education-related proposals, and a good number of them came with positive results and with the potential to engage several other states and add value to the Nigeria's education system. And I must say that beyond Nigeria, I have been privileged to participate in a number of platforms within the organization. Just recently, the organization was working to look at its inclusion policy, issues of how staff, consultants are treated with equity regardless of their race. These are important issues for an international organization, and I was part of the team that did the process of selecting the organization that will provide the consultancy services to reposition FHI 360 in that regard, just among several other things.
Yeah. You have developed several proposals on teacher training and early grade learning, but there seems to be a gap. May we know what the problem?
Well, as I said earlier, actually through our implementation, we recorded a lot of successes. From that experience also, the proposals we developed have been well received. But talking about gaps is about sustainability. One challenge for all development programs is the ability of governments to sustain the kind of intervention delivered through projects. And I think this time around, I must say that we don't have any gap in terms of technical ownership, because we didn't only work, we didn't work with through the system. We worked with the system. We made sure that all the partners we worked with have good understanding or even equal understanding of the technical know-how required to implement the project.
You were an activist, especially having served as secretary of the Academic Staff Union of Universities. What will you proffer as a solution to the continuous lingering ASU government face-off?
Well, with Academic Staff Union of Universities, this is timely. The union is on strike even before COVID-19, and after COVID, the strike continues. I served as the secretary of the union at a very critical time, 2009 through 2010. That was when the 2009 agreement was signed. And the agreement is talking about funding, what I just mentioned, about funding for university education. We have seen pictures of university classes with 300 students We have seen student hostels that look just like, you know that even prison yards should not take certain unhuman shapes, but that is if you have to even accept any certain low standard, that is where we normally expect it, especially in Nigerian context. But you see dormitories of university students that are just like the standard of prison yards. So the issue of ICT, how much access to the internet students have. This is the agreement, and of course, university lecturers are just like any other human being. They have lives to live. They have families to take care of. So their welfare and remuneration really matter. Even today, when you look at the salary of a professor in the university, you can't compare it to entry level of staff in the NNPC, in Central Bank, in FRS, and this is someone at the peak of his career, and a kind of career that requires a lot of investment, research, community service, teaching, and so on. On the part of ASU is that perhaps the union needs to revisit its strategy and engagement. Like, take for example the issue of the current strike. I really don't know how much people refer to the Twitter page of ASU, a Twitter handle of ASU, Facebook page of ASU, or ASU website to get information. In one of the industrial actions embarked by the union, we did hear the Hausa executive members of ASU speak on local and international radio stations to enlighten people about their case, because we are in political dispensation. You really have to make your case clearer so that you are understood. So I don't see the kind of sympathy that the union receives in previous engagements coming in now, and I think that has to do with the strategic management of information, which really needs to improve. And of course, one other thing to improve is to be really more pragmatic about how much government can continue to fund tertiary education 100%. We need to look at models in other countries and see whether the one we are asking the government to use is realistic and aligns with the global practices.
Yeah, Doctor, because of the time constraint, this is where we come to the end of this show. We thank you very much for having you in this show. We hope to receive you once again next time when you are available.
Thank you very much, Madam Lahiru. It's a pleasure to be at Standard Voice Television. This is really one station that I admire and respect, and I appreciate the opportunity of being hosted in the program.
Yeah. To our viewers, we thank you very much for following us in this program. We hope to meet with you again. Before then, I am Lahiru Somai Elamafara saying bye for now.